introductory chapters is already existing in previous editions and also in a lot of other textbooks. So we would really emphasise the need for a much more how-to, step-by-step manual. And also, what we think might assist that would be the involvement of some protected area managers in the actual editorial group, not dominated by academics. We also think it needs to be more concise in its presentation. And then just a couple of other key things. There needs to be an acknowledgement, you know, that, and it is already in the book, I agree, but that tourism can result in lots of very negative impacts, and we need to be honest about that and have positive and negative case studies so that people can see, you know, the results of negative sort of tourism impacts. We felt education and interpretation needed to be increased because that's a big part of the tourist experience. And then how, you know, just the whole issue around how do you balance tourism and communities so that communities can be involved and get positive benefits, and making sure that tourism doesn't sort of swamp or destroy the sort of spirit of place that communities have and often visitors will want to come and experience. And yes, just reducing the introductory chapters and the concepts, we felt that that was covered elsewhere.
Thank you.
So if we could now have the group that was up here in this section, your speaker please. We appear to have some discussion over who's going to receive the Oscar.
Hello, I'm Josh Atwood. I'm with the United States. I work for the state government in Hawaii. And we had representation in our group from Hawaii as well as Sri Lanka and Belize. Some of our overall comments on the outline for the Best Management Practices book were that we felt that it should include cultural context in the section on giving a geographical context as well. There was a specific reference in there to whether or not the protected area was part of an indigenous culture, and that should definitely be part of any tourism venture. Under the policy and legal section, we wanted to highlight the need for including information about individual liabilities in protected areas, especially for the United States. If there was a liability issue for individuals in a protected area, that can really make or break a partnership or a public area just due to lawsuits. Under the management section, we felt that there should be more of a balance between highlighting the need for visitor management and what the visitor experience is, with more resource and site management, making sure that the product that is drawing visitors into your protected area continues on into the future and is a major focus of the partnership. We also wanted to highlight the concept of compassionate enforcement for rules and regulations within protected areas. Obviously, you want to enforce whatever regulations you have, but do it in such a way that you're not providing a negative experience for the visitor. And we also wanted to see some inclusion of the concept that impact monitoring, which is mentioned in the outline, is then somehow tied to adaptive management, that any negative impacts lead to actual changes in the way that protected area is managed. And that's all we had. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If we could have the group that was back in this area, please.
All right, good afternoon, friends. My name is Vimukti. I'm representing Sri Lanka. My group is biased towards Sri Lanka because our group was sitting together and 6 of my group members are from Sri Lanka. not good. But anyway, so we have some contribution from Africa, US, as well as host country Korea. Now, I think the most of the things that has been highlighted in previous two presenters, but I think one thing I just wanted to highlight is the specific guidelines of PPP, private public partnerships. Sometimes if you put it in detail, that will be helpful, especially countries like us in Sri Lanka. And also the guidelines for the communities to run the financial system, the financial model. And that guidelines is very important for the community-based organizations, or sometimes small individuals who are interested in this business. Then they can see how and when and where they can get involved in this operation. So that is important, we thought. And also some of the personal ideas, the individual tourism ideas and things like that, how you can bring individuals as well, maybe community leaders or something. But at the same time, we thought of, again, one speaker highlighted that the good and bad practices, very important. There are some classic examples. In Philippines, I know that there's one community group is running a whale shark tourism operation, extremely smooth. They don't even allow tourists to dive, so snorkel, maximum 10 tourists, but guaranteed sighting. In Sri Lanka, we have a turtle conservation project. They're doing a turtle conservation project, but at the same time, they are running a turtle tourism program in parallel to the conservation activities. So those are the two things: you benefit the conservation as well as you increase the awareness and the enthusiasm of the tourists by actively engaging in the activities. So those kind of models can look at and then put it into the document so that people can understand. Thank you very much.
And last but not least, we have one more group, correct? The mega group back here.
Good afternoon. It's not the mega group. I think it was the smallest group, by the way. My group was represented by Gabon, Iran, Philippines, Rwanda, Mauritius, and South Africa. And I think what was fortunate in this group is that everyone had a prior experience of tourism to one or the other extent. And hence we struggled to pin down 2 priorities, so we kept it as 4 to be all-inclusive. But let me start. The first priority or the principle that we thought was missing is the principle of responsible tourism. I think sometimes we assume that we all know what best practice means, and I think we need to reflect more clearly on what best practice means. And what we feel is that it should include, the definition should include the principle of responsible tourism. So what is responsible tourism? Isn't it just the same as sustainable tourism, or is any terminology, jargon that you get involved into? Responsible tourism is something different. It is something very important, because responsible tourism speaks to the people. It speaks to the rights of people. It speaks to, when you talk about a tourist, you never think of a local community, a local member as a tourist. You think of a foreigner, you think of someone different other than a local community member. So we believe that what is missing in the guideline is the principle of responsible tourism. And defining responsible tourism, we should be based on the constitutional rights of people. People have a right to visit a protected area. I don't know whether you all agree, but we believe people have a right to visit. There may be different mechanisms, might be different ways of making it happen. In South Africa, this week we have a National Parks Week, which is a free access to anyone. And we believe because people have a right to visit. And it speaks to the constitutional rights of people. It should also include community involvement as a principle because of the right to visit. It should also include the principle on flexibility for adaptation in specific countries. I think when we assume best practice that it's so general that it should apply, throughout the countries. But I think what is the opposite might be required is to actually be flexible enough within the context of a specific country. So that just relates to responsible tourism. That's just our first priority. The second one is, may I just add, in responsible tourism, which I've just written here in red, it's ethical management. I've missed that under responsible tourism, which is about the value, etc. Our second priority is capacity building for the private sector. You'll see in section 9, it only talks about capacity building for local community, and there's another one, but there's one missing for the private sector. The third priority we felt just needs clarification, which is section 10. It speaks about the management effectiveness. So what we want to include maybe in that particular section is the lack of law enforcement. I think what we are struggled with the fact that because it's a guideline, it can be really seen just as a guideline. And we thought that maybe as part of the monitoring management effectiveness to maybe say something around law enforcement as well. And the last one is, we're not quite sure whether it's really in there, but we want to raise the concern around it, which is the coverage should include coastal and marine tourism. Because we get a feel that this is very much terrestrial, but we could not really say whether that is the case. So we need a bit of a clarification on the coverage to include that as well. And that's basically from our group. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you all very much. I think we've certainly found this to be, from our perspective, an extremely productive session, useful on several levels. A, making people aware that this process is ongoing, and that we would look for, if people are interested, to get involved. Perhaps speak to UFI and he can give you his email address. Thank you for some excellent suggestions and your inputs through your groups. We've got your email, so you may hear from us.
Did everyone sign one?
Yes, true. Has everyone signed this that's interested to be contacted? Great. We've given you this little bookmark which gives you the contact details if you'd like to get more involved with our specialist group. But on the sheet there, I've just written up that there's a meeting, an informal meeting of the Tourism Protected Areas Specialist Group. We're meeting at 4:30 up on level 5 in the members' lounge. Anyone who's already a member, because indeed some of you may well be members of our group, we meet virtually most of the time, but this is an opportunity to meet face to face, or anyone who's not but is interested in becoming involved with us, we'd love to see you later this afternoon. And if you're interested in the topic, I'm running a session, a knowledge cafe on the 10th, 11 till 1. It's on Indigenous people, World Heritage and tourism. So if any of you are interested in that aspect of our work, then I welcome you to come to the Knowledge Cafe as well. So again, thank you all very much. We found it a very useful session. You've stuck around, so hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. Thanks very much to UFI and to Jim as well. Thanks. And thanks to the volunteers for all their help.
All right. I think there's another one of those yellow pads.
Yeah, I think Rosie's got it over there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we knocked out with those.
I got those comments. Oh, okay.
May I collect these last paper?
Discussion about it, and I've got
My dancing partner.
Are you doing yeah, so I should have actually said that. I said to her, but little baby's just a bit too tiny to leave her at home at the moment, so Andrew's actually had an idea. So you've been involved with that? One of my areas of interest is interpretation,
We're still working a lot here.
Oh, very good, yes. So you are mission excellent. Oh, well, very good.
We haven't
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, Elizabeth Halfpenny, she looks up at membership, yes.
That's a huge.
Anyway, if you can come to the meeting this afternoon at 4:30, we'll talk a little bit more about what's apart from this isn't the only thing that's going on, but it's certainly one of the key things. And just getting feedback from people about how to improve. Of course, it's like all volunteer things. You know, it's easy for people to say, oh, I want this or I want that. Well, someone's going to have to do it. So when people say we should have a newsletter, we probably say, fabulous, do you want to do it? But it's nice to make
She had a baby and then she disappeared from the scene. So she's still active.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I know it's just it's so complicated, the whole program, so crowded and busy. But thanks for coming and saying hello. And I will let Anna know that you were here and ask about it.
I hope Yes, send her my regards.
It's in the
But
members
I used to get a lot more
lounge.
emails from her and then less and less and less.
No, yeah, level 5. Yeah, so the easiest way to do it, the easiest way, if you go into, if you come in at where the cafe is downstairs, there's a lift. You catch the lift, that's the easiest way to do it. Otherwise, you've got to go this way and up and up and across and up and up.
That's a lot easier.
The geography is
So I always tell my daughter's name's Rebecca.
well, I guess we've heard from an architectural company, maybe it was about that not all the flow is just straight up and down. But until you get your head around the geography, you get lost. But so yeah, catch the lift to the 5th floor, and you just sort of follow the wall around, because where the lift is just a bit further around the wall, so we've got an ocean view looking back down the coast. So yeah, anyone can go in. And it's quite nice. It's got these lounge chairs and there's a bit of a bookstore there.
I can go to the meeting, but I got here
And
late,
so
but
it's quite
still trying to remain active in several with the
multiple
training.
meetings.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the members
World
lounge just to
Heritage, those are the ones that I'm
and it hasn't been heavily used, don't know. It's isolated in members lounge, you can barely get into it. Maybe it's building so complicated, no one's going to it. Well, in fact, Penny Finger said this morning, she said, there's WCPA's actually on the room up there, so there's a few, I think so, so you can book it.
I was going to tell you, we recently had a group of visitors that I attended to from Buniatia. Next to Lake Baikal. So they came over on a State Department visit and visited like Rocky Mountain National Park and local parks. So I spent the day with a
Some of the things, and just not us particularly, more what we're just doing, or for those who are members already, what different things that come in, because it's like, well, it's volunteers, it's what people say, why don't you go, you're a member, why don't you?
Several of them were ethnically from that area. Other than were ethnic Russians. So it's a combination of people, local ethnic communities.
Well,
some of the areas around Baikal.
But the others are just
very
want stuff.
Because now our government
And I mean, like,
and special federal program. But now we are afraid a little bit because our government sometimes very active, you know, our president.
Well, I was just going to say, I was just going to tell a joke. What flying with the cranes, like this ultralight. Well, I mean, not too many presidents would do that. So I like the picture last year when he did the picture with no shirt on. He was crossing the river and fly fishing or something like that. Well, he's an athlete. I mean, he was a champion. Was a judo or karate or something.
whoever you are, it's making a huge mileage out of
So
it.
I would like to see more presidents flying small planes with helping migratory birds. So.
But the process is meant to be that now this week, once the chairs or the commissions are gone and the regional chairs are gone, then all the members are gone, and you're supposed to, and then yes, they do every time they just build.
Now, does she work in
But what they
conservation?
then use it for, if they do it properly, is then get the regional chairs, the ones that do it, the regional chairs.